The most affordable flagship phone in the iQOO 9 series, the iQOO 9 SE, is finally here, and there seems to be a bit of excitement around this phone primarily because it is also the most affordable Snapdragon 888 phone currently in India. But you know what? This phone seems to be very similar to last year's iQOO 7 in that the internals only seem to have changed. Now, do these changes make any difference in everyday usage? Should you consider it? My name is Ershad. You're watching Trakin Tech English. I'm going to be answering all those questions and more in our full review. Let's go. Starting with the design, iQOO has reused the same industrial design of the iQOO 7 with the same glass sandwich body on the iQOO 9 SE as well. In fact, these phones share the same dimensions and the same weight too. You know what? I really think it's a smart move because there's no need to introduce a new design every single year if it helps save some R&D costs and the benefits are then, transferred to the customer. The only visual differences between the iQOO 7 and the iQOO 9 SE seem to be the camera module is actually now slightly different, and of course, the speaker grill at the bottom is also slightly differently designed. The phone does look good and the in-hand feel is great too. But you know what? I honestly feel that for a performance-oriented phone, catering towards gamers, I think that the USB Type-C port at the bottom should have offered USB 3.0 speeds. By the way, the dual speaker setup on the iQOO 9 SE does sound clean and crisp. However, I did notice one thing, that the speakers actually do not sound as loud as the iQOO 7. Also, for some odd reason, the haptic feedback is not as tight as the iQOO 7 either. And I have a theory for this. It is possibly because iQOO now uses a larger battery inside the iQOO 9 SE compared to the iQOO 7, therefore leaving very little space for the speakers and of course, the vibration motor as well. While the phone might not have space inside the body for a big speaker and a big vibration motor, I have space inside me and a big heart for you guys. So please hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. Also, for the sake of the YouTube algorithm gods, hit the like button and maybe even comment below. The display on the iQOO 9 SE is the same 6.62-inch Super AMOLED panel with support for HDR10+ and 1300 nits of peak brightness when you're playing HDR content. It is actually a pretty good panel with great color accuracy, especially in the professional mode, which you have to switch on from the settings. And of course, you also get great HDR performance as well with support for HDR playback in YouTube and Netflix. And if you're taking the phone outside, the sunlight legibility is also very good. By now, we also know that 120Hz refresh rate is kind of standard in this price range, so you also get a 120Hz refresh rate panel. But iQOO goes one step ahead with that intelligent display chip, which does motion interpolation, especially when you're gaming. So it actually jumps from 60 FPS to 120 FPS. Part of the display is also that in-display fingerprint scanner. Unfortunately, it's placed slightly low, so it feels slightly uncomfortable to actually reach. But it is fairly fast to unlock. If you get used to the placement, then that's not really a problem. Now, it might feel like I'm playing a broken record, but it is what it is. The iQOO 9 SE also shares the same camera setup as the iQOO 7. You get the same 48 megapixel Sony IMX 598 sensor with optical image stabilization, 16 megapixel ultra wide, and the 2 megapixel mono camera on the rear. Starting off with the detailed retention, it is similar on both the phones considering they use the same sensor. Now, HDR processing in high dynamic range regions has been slightly improved here, especially in the shadow region. The iQOO 9 SE can pull in more detail and reduces the noise by a huge margin. It could also be because of the better ISP inside the Snapdragon 888. But yeah, I reiterate, this is only a marginal difference and most users won't care. And I had to actually pixel peep to find these differences. But the one area where the slight change in processing makes a huge difference is in the color accuracy of the JPEG outputs. The iQOO 9 SE captures more true to life colors now, and it is not as warm as the iQOO 7 anymore. You can also clearly see the difference between the reds, the blues, and the greens in this sample. The same is true for the facial tones as well. Sujay's face is warmer here in this shot using the iQOO 7. Plus, the iQOO 9 SE doesn't have the moire pattern on the shirt that the iQOO 7 produces, which is not a good thing. Evidently, the algorithm has been improved. In portraits, the iQOO 9 SE is slightly inconsistent. In the first sample, the iQOO 9 SE does look good with better facial tones and a more accurate reproduction of Sujay's red t-shirt. But in the second one, the 9 SE's edge detection is off with a lot of bloom around the edges. In selfies, the detailed retrieval and the dynamic range control is very similar on both both the phones. But the iQOO 9 SE has a slightly tweaked facial tone that veers towards natural as opposed to the warmth of the iQOO 7. Selfie portraits are also better tuned on the iQOO 9 SE with no smoothening and a more accurate facial tone. It just looks better even without delving into the details. The performance of the ultra-wide-angle camera and the macros you can take with it remains unchanged, though it looks exactly the same on both the phones. In low-light shots, you can't really tell a difference. But yes, the night mode algorithm has been cleaned up slightly and you get slightly sharper textures and lesser noise as well. But again, it's not a major difference. The same is true for the low-light ultra-wide-angle shots and low-light selfies. Barely any difference at all. Video recording, on the other hand, has been improved. The iQOO 9 SE shoots in the Rec. 709 color space, and therefore the color science is way better. The 9 SE also captures a much higher bitrate as well, and the sound recording is better too. I'll pan around and show you guys what it looks like when I'm shooting directly into like a nice dynamic range region. But yes, you still don't get stabilization in 4K 60 FPS video recording, which is a pity. Front camera is still the same 1080p 30 FPS and there's barely any difference in the quality.
Let me know what you guys think of the sound quality, the dynamic range performance, of course.
Overall, when you look at the camera performance, the iQOO 9 SE carries forward the same legacy of the iQOO 7 of being a great shooter under rupees 35,000. I actually had a lot of fun shooting with this phone, as opposed to something like the OnePlus 9R and the 9RT, which don't really offer such good camera performance. The 9 SE also comes with Snapdragon 888 inside, and by now most brands have figured out a way to tune it the right way, and therefore we also get some of the best Antutu scores that we've achieved yet. Although more importantly, in our CPU stability test, it managed to achieve a stability of 71%, which is not too bad for a Snapdragon 888 phone, and in the GPU throttle test in 3D Mark Wildlife stress test, we got 59% stability as well, which is again on par for most Snapdragon 888 phones out there. The iQOO 9 SE, just like the iQOO 7, is a fantastic gaming phone. Whether you're playing games like Call of Duty Mobile or BGMI or even something like Grim Valor, it's actually a lot of fun to play on this phone, and you get the max graphics on games like Call of Duty Mobile and BGMI. Although both the games do not offer 90 FPS gaming yet, but I think that's more of a Snapdragon problem than an iQOO problem. So I hope that gets solved really soon. And you know what? If you have followed my work, you will know that I have been using the iQOO 7 all of 2021 for playing Call of Duty Mobile, which is my favorite game, because mainly of that motion interpolation that you get with the display. And that same thing now exists on the iQOO 9 SE, and therefore I just enjoy playing on the iQOO 9 SE and probably will be switching to this phone now. When it comes to network performance, you get 8 5G bands on the iQOO 9 SE for when 5G is available in the future. But 4G performance was really rock solid. Call quality was great too. I got 4G plus as well, which is really heartening to see. Now, the iQOO 9 SE, like I mentioned earlier, has a slightly larger 4500 mAh battery compared to the 4400 mAh unit inside the iQOO 7. But the slightly bigger battery life doesn't really do much because Snapdragon 888 is very power hungry, and I got about 5 hours of screen on time on an average. And of course, this is strictly a one-day phone. On the contrary, the iQOO 7 with Snapdragon 870 definitely offered better battery performance. And battery charging is handled by a 66-watt adapter that you get inside the box, and you can charge this phone from 0 to 100 in about 35 minutes or lower. Another good thing about the iQOO 9 SE is that it runs on the latest Android 12 software, but based on FunTouch OS 12. I've talked at length about FunTouch OS 12 in my iQOO 9 and iQOO 9 Pro videos, so I'll keep this one short. The crux of the matter is that FunTouch OS has been refined over the years and it looks fairly better now. Still, there are some UI and UX issues that you have to contend with, and more importantly, there's a lot of bloatware as well. However, the best thing about FunTouch OS today is that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, you can expect Android version upgrades on time, because we did a video, and if you guys haven't checked that out yet, you must go and check it out. It must have gone live already, where we've talked about the OS update report card of all the brands, and Vivo and iQOO are on top out there. It's just shocking. The iQOO 9 SE undoubtedly is a fantastic value proposition. You get good performance, good cameras, a crisp high refresh rate display, fast charging, and a healthy software update cycle. It ticks almost all of the right boxes. My only suggestion for iQOO in the next version of their budget flagship performance monster is that they should actually add at least a 5000 mAh battery in the phone so that the battery life can be better. Even so, I think that the iQOO 9 SE currently in the market is the best Android phone under rupees 35,000, and I recommend it wholeheartedly. And if you're worried about the brand value, don't worry about it, because Vivo is the parent brand and you'll get your service centers all across your cities as well. What do you guys think of the iQOO 9 SE? Do let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, keep tracking and stay safe.